Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the most Terran player out there, and the Reddit's Micro Jackson, ByuN, and his tenacious counterpart, the Zerg player in the blue, the Rocky Zerg. It's Solar. A best of 3 Terran versus Zerg showdown, and already shaping up with exactly what we expected to see. We got Solar with 2 hatcheries pumping out queens. We got ByuN with Reapers. Multiple coming across the map, and we have me begging you for likes, and if you haven't made it there yet, maybe subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we? Keep up. 1,329 likes on this cast, on this series, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I would do with my life, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get a little bit better than anyone forced to face off against ByuN's Reapers. Brenda bounce out of the way. So far, mostly emotional damage, but it continues to add up. As the queens, joint pain off a creep, take their sweet, sweet time. The Reapers throw a parting shot with the grenade. Dodges back in. The creep tuber will be sniped off and pops another one off to the side. The queens, a grenade interrupting the attack. And ByuN will get away with it, adding insult to injury. Mostly insult. Not too much injury, but really the emotional scars may never heal. Those Reapers were probably the most, well, one of the most, on the short list of the most abused by ByuN's Reapers in the last decade or so. It's an exclusive club to get to play ByuN so many times and have to deal with this. But Solar, not called the Rocky Zerg because of his lack of patience. So the Zerglings will spot the reactor factory, and ByuN is so greedy. He's got 3 command centers. He's got 2 engineering base. He's going to have his cake, he's going to drop a mule, and he's going to have someone else eat it for him. That's how rich he's going to be, with 3 command centers and 2 NG base. Now, NG base don't make you money, but having upgrades for your Marines in a timely manner indeed does. And Solar has no intention of early aggression. There's no Banling Nest, no Roach One. The Queens aren't taking a soul stroll across the map, but instead are going to be sitting back on the home front and forced to defend against the Reaper. Hellion. Brett, get out of the way! How many times? Just one at a time! Remember when we could... This would be easier if we could fly. You shut your mouth. Or whatever it is we have. I don't know if it's mouths, as the Terrans would call it. Is this important, Brett? Starport on the way. Transfuse, better late than never. Solar, trying to get the creep out there, but ByuN has done a great job with minimal units of keeping the queens busy. There's going to be slightly more than minimal units coming across the map momentarily, though. Marines, 2 medevacs, double engineering bay upgrades. The whole plan going to be coming together, and even an armory for potentially Hellbats, which will serve, in this case, somewhat as the combat shield. Because that is the one thing ByuN had to kind of delay in order to make this happen. 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and as much economy as he can get away with behind. And he's kept the creep back so far. It's only going to take a single scan to close the distance on the 3rd. Armory nearly done. 3rd base landing now for ByuN. The best defense, a good offense. And also the best offense, as ByuN so often shows us. Medevacs nod back towards home, parting salute, and now heading across the map. Not particularly slow. ByuN's original 2-1-1 2-base stim marine build would hit just after 5 minutes. This less than a minute after that, and has Hellbats, 3 bases, double engineering bay. All right, and a new car. At least for now, looking incredibly strong. Every second counts here for Solar. The Queens gonna ward things away. ByuN hits the stims, and the Queens will take the brunt of it. As the Hellbats still out in front. Almost nothing dying so far. The Hellbats will be healed. Don't ask how, by the medevacs. Nanites. Nano machines. And ByuN realizing Solar probably has enough to overwhelm him, won't push the issue. And honestly, when you have a third base so quickly, you have your upgrades. I guarantee you he's been checking those upgrades. He knows when he got 1-1, he's been checking to see if Solar has his. And no, Solar's a long way off. He's about to have Baneling speed, which will help, but not nearly as much as those upgrades on him. There's still a couple Reapers in there with the grenade opportunities. Hydralisk Den is on the way. Solar opting for tech before getting those baseline upgrades. We'll see how it pans out for him. And the Marines slurps him up. The Hellbats, not so lucky. Don't quite fit in the medevac. Well, not easily. 3 more Barracks on the way, creating some choke points near the third. Really, if ByuN loses the third base and loses this production, he's probably lost the game anyways, so... Saves the Marines. Infestation Pit is on the way. 1-1 going to finish momentarily for Solar. But ByuN is closing in on 2-2. And there's no reason he needs to stop there. The 8 racks, Octo racks play coming together. Solar is ahead by 30 supply. 84 drones done. It's pretty much what every Zerg wants. You want 84 drones? You want 5 bases? You want your upgrades and plenty of Ling Bane? And you want these medevacs to get off my creep! Karen, I appreciate the sentiment. You're out of line. You're right, but you're out of line. Sorry. I'm sorry. 2-2 completing, but ByuN in losing even a single medevac, that severely undercuts. Okay. Moderately undercuts the momentum. Makes it that much harder. That less... 16 Marines are an order of magnitude scarier than 8, so Solar can concentrate the vast majority of his units towards the front instead of having to hang back with a whole bunch of Zerglings and Banes, though he still has some. But ByuN not going to be intimidated. Arguably unable to be so. Oh, the medevac? If he gets rid of that, he can pull all the units to the front line. The Hive is not yet done. Lurker Den is on the way. In the mail, not yet delivered. Queen's being gunned down here. Those Marines have 2-2 completed, and ByuN supply has caught up quickly. Solars can't go any higher. He's trying to wait out those Hydra upgrades. He's trying to wait out his 2-2. But it's unlikely to be done by the time ByuN comes stutter-stepping into his third. A massive counterattack here. The Banelings connect. There's still so many Marines, 69 on the field. A nice complement of them. And right now, well, Solar giving up his third in favor of breaking through, but look at the SimCity here. ByuN has set up, well, an SCV killing zone, but otherwise funneled units into the siege tanks. I don't know if it helped there. The checkerboard depots. Well, that third base is taken out. Solar will trade away his own third for ByuN's. He's base trading a Terran, but for good reason, as he needs those upgrades done to even compete with this army. He cuts off the economy. ByuN, his army supply 121 to 108. But Solar has bought some time. He's trying to even the odds and the upgrades here. The Queens taking the brunt of the first valley. The medevacs are nearly out of energy, but these Marines are still intact, and they took out the base to the 6 o'clock. Here comes Solar with everything he's got. The Banelings from the back, the Zergling, the Marines are standing their ground. Some of them melt, but not nearly enough. There's a Viper on the way, but enough Marines survive. ByuN was able to keep them in the fight. Solar, well, he's got Lurkers on the way now, though. ByuN has lost a lot of his economy, but he's kept the core intact. The Marine Corps, that is. We got 5 medevacs, 2 Liberators, a singular siege tank, and 61 Marines, with 3 upgrades closing in. Those Lurkers are an existential threat to every single last one of these Marines, but until they get range, it's more theoretical. Viper gathering energy. And the Lurkers, just 2 of them. He has scans, a bit late on it. And ByuN picks up. Oh my, here we go again. The Liberators drawing attention at the exact right time for ByuN to drop out. 40 supply into the main. 32 Marines, 4 medevacs, and a whole lot of anger. Just targeting Parasitic Bomb. These Marines, the Banelings are closing in. Marines to the back line. Holding on for now. Another one. 3 of those medevacs bite the dust. The Lurkers are unburrowed. They do have range, but they need to burrow first. He might not have a scan. He just doesn't have a scan, it seems. As desperately dropping mules back at home. But still a good position here for ByuN. The Lurkers are moving up to the front line. Enough Marines are able to survive. Target fire onto the Lurkers. Takes it out. 4th base. ByuN. Looking beyond stoppable here. The Lurker count is not high enough to contest this. Blinding Cloud means the Marines are going to be forced to move to the side. And Solar saves his base. Well, for now. But the Marines from that medevac at the back, the spawning pool with adrenal glands halfway done. A massive snipe. He needs Zerglings. There's not that many other units. More Marines come up. He's stimming, and indeed he's winning. ByuN turns it around. Solar sent spinning with vertigo before he can even deal with the first medevac. And ByuN uses every last tool. The Vipers with Parasitic Bomb. Solar, I think strategically, played a great game here. But ByuN just kept sending it. And eventually the Marines broke through. That could have easily tilted the other way. That's another one of those games that, if it works, it's a great idea. But ByuN easily could have lost 30-40 supply for nothing in the drop. He could have lost 30-40 supply to the Lurkers before having a scan ready, but he didn't. And that's what makes it good. It just seems to work out for him. Sometimes a plan comes together, even if that plan is just make a bunch of Marines and go for it. And they were running out of time. Eventually, if Solar gets enough Lurkers, if he gets Vipers, and we already saw a little bit of it there, 4 or 5 Lurkers and a Viper, enough to stall out that entire push. But ByuN was too busy tearing through it. And oh my god, what a shock. He's going for 2 racks Reaper here on Crimson Court in game 2. Wow. If it ain't broke. The Reapers, he uses the whole Reaper, alright? He doesn't just show up for some early game harass. He doesn't just show up to remind the Queens what it felt like to fly, if only momentarily. Those Reapers are part of the medevac drops. They're still throwing grenades right up until he loses them, if he loses them. So the Reapers are really just one of those pro gamer units. And in this case, like a Clement ByuN unit that don't try this at home, essentially. The Reaper build in order to delay a third or just put early pressure on, maybe. But it is an incredibly active build. That is... The grenade actually ends up hitting... The grenade bounces the Reaper away. And ByuN, not able to kill the Creep Tumor by 1 hit. Oh my god. He throws a grenade. He didn't get it! He didn't get it! The Creep Tumor has 1 HP! And now! Revenge! The Queens. The Creep Tumor healed just enough to... He knew where it was. I think he realizes he didn't kill it, but it's too late to come back for more. I can't believe we're fighting over 1 Creep Tumor that ByuN can't even target directly. That's a lie. Of course I can believe that. The Queen's politely yet firmly insisting the Reapers finally leave the premises. The Reapers... Well, I don't know what I expected. This is just... just taunting them. It's just mean. It's getting so much out of it. And... Wait, did ByuN scout the timing of the gas? Not exactly. He can't know that speed isn't done. I mean, he could look at the Zerglings, but he can't know speed isn't about to finish. But Solar did go for a very early third and delayed his speed significantly for that. So there is a chance. ByuN also just might be making a read based. Technically, speedlings can chase down Reapers. They are faster. But only one of them can jump up cliffs and throw grenades and heal themselves and have 2 cool pistols. And wait a Jimmy, this is just by Big Reaper. I know I said I wanted to do more sponsorships, but that's... Yes, I already said like and subscribe. The Reapers come back home to their wife and family. Or theoretically could be if they had those. Marines, medevac, stim, +1 on the way. This time around solar, a lot closer on the upgrades, not leaning into the lair nearly as much. But instead, wow, 62 drones at 5.5 minutes. That sport car was exactly perfect timing. Finished the moment the Banshee actually showed up. Baneling nest is on the way alongside the lair, so Solar, putting it all together. He's got all the pieces in production. ByuN does, of course, as well. We're gonna have a similar game, and this is a difficult map to deal with the siege tanks, but the rocks have been nerfed. Sorry, Dustin. The rocks were nerfed from 6 to 4 to just a lowly 2 sets of rocks on each of the sides here. Practically nothing, as the Zerglings sit there clawing at them for like a full minute. Marines not quite able to take out the Queens. And the Queens looking at the medevacs. Medevac barely gets away. But ByuN playing with knitting needle-sized fire here. Queen's already in high enough number to deal with it. Infestation pit in production. Solar, I think angling towards Hive. Remarkably early. Base number 5 is on the way as well. Only 6, well, going on minute number 7. ByuN at 65 CVs. We'll see if he decides to go past that number. Another factory's on the way as well. So, adding in some of the mech here. Gonna stop by McDonald's on his way up to the ghost composition, potentially. Assuming we get there. But if the game slows down enough, you can really tell a Terran versus Zerg by the creep spread. That kind of defines, as we saw in the last game. ByuN was able to keep the pressure on because he kept the creep spread pushed back almost to the bases. Back up against a wall. But the creep spread here is over halfway across the map. That's going to take 2 scans at least to get through. ByuN proving it. And the tumors are spread all over the place. It's just a real pain. So you have to deal with it now, or it's just going to get worse later. Running onto the creep is a recipe for disaster. So trying to clear it out. But because Solar has already extended it out so far, he's created this buffer zone where it's almost impossible for ByuN to get damage done efficiently. The Banshee not have cloak? Well, the best cloaking is not living at all. This message also brought to you by Big Reaper. Moving on. Hive Tech. A Spire on the way as well. Solar filling in all the gaps here. Probably going to see at least 2 Vipers. We're heavy on the siege tanks this time around. Viper's probably the most value from... the quickest value you can get out of the Hive Tech. Ultraless Cavern as well. Wow. So we're getting just Hive Tech. Which Hive Tech would you like, sir? Yes. Vipers, Adrenal Glands, Spire, Ultraless Cavern. The only thing we're missing is a Lurker Den here. ByuN is pre-dropping mules on a bait. Well, his hubris knows no bounds. That siege tank actually Getting a lot of damage done despite the single Zergling at point-blank range. The Marines, now with that kind of ill-fated attack, now ByuN up 20 supply, right up until 8 Corruptors on the way. Solar looking to make his Spire great again, as angling towards the Broodlords. Rarely do we see Broodlords quite so early on, like as the first Hive Tech choice, but it's been a passive game here. And those siege tanks work both ways. You get close enough, the Broodlings will draw the siege tank fire onto each other, onto the Marines. Ideally for Solar, anything that isn't Zerg besides the Broodlings themselves. There's a Ghost Academy on the way. Vikings as well in production. I think ByuN's starting to realize where this is going. And where it's going, he needs Vikings and Ghosts, if possible. Doesn't really matter if it's just Vipers, if it's Ultras. The Vikings and Ghosts are going to be a helpful complement. And in the case of Broodlords, they're required. You're not going to deal with it with just Marines. ByuN using the Rally Depot. Always clever. That depot, if that depot dies to a counterattack, the rally point will be reset. So that way your units don't just rally into their death. And just a convenient point as well. 103 IQ. Wait, does he see the Overlords? Aha. They blend in, much like a Strawberry at a Smurf parade. And I'm not talking about the Silver League. I'm talking about, like, the blue... It was funny. Please clap. They look hilarious, though. Oh my god. Have you picked your Overlords this season? Oh, quite a harvest. Indeed. This season is over, my lord. For you. Queen dies with the Broodlords. Vikings, and he yanks in the Vikings with the Vipers, and then they promptly fly away, as they have a tendency to do. But only 2 Vikings against half a dozen, 8 Broodlords here. The Ghost, though, helping out. Queen's underneath, trying to hold it together. Some snipes. Ultralists as well. So the full complement of Zerg Hive Tech is bearing down on ByuN. He doesn't even have 3-3 done. So he doesn't have any sort of upgrade advantage. The third base. Banelings roll in and obliterate the SCVs. 34 SCVs down so far. The Vikings repelled by the Queens. A historical battle indeed. And now down goes the last one. ByuN driven back. He's down to 53 SCVs. He's finally finishing his 3-3 upgrades. But Solar, he repelled the drops on the other side. He's got 5 more Ultralisks on the way. He skipped the 3-3 upgrades in favor of getting the tech out as quick as possible, and I think it's paid off. ByuN scrambling to get the Ghosts out. He's building 6 SCVs at a time to replace his economy, but Solar doesn't need to replace anything besides the units he wants to swing in with the next wave. There's 1 Viper. 1 Viper to rule them all. And in the darkness, blind them. Ideally, you'd have more than 1 Viper. That seems like a... quite a logistical quandary there, but... Vikings still kiting back. The Queen's having a tough time keeping the Broodlords intact. 8 more SCVs dead, though. Ultra's coming in from the right flank. Banelings right down the center. Ultra's tanking the tank damage, and the tanks themselves are ripped apart. The Ghost forced to fight on the front line. Lining up some shots, will get a few off. But he's forced to retreat all the way back to the 3rd. Another volley of snipes, mostly interrupted. And it doesn't matter if he's able to take out the Ultras. There's no damage on the other side. There's no recovering from that. And Solar just leans on him till he breaks. A cinematic experience, but ByuN, the difference between getting all those little victories early with the Reapers and Hellions and getting shut down, well, couldn't be more clear. All those little details from that early exchange in the first 5-6 minutes up through the first 2 medevacs, I think really on display there, showing in Solar's momentum. Once he gets the ball rolling, very hard to stop. Going into post-youth. And no, that's not a personal attack, but instead, the next map. All tied up, 1-1. We've got our in-base pocket with only 6 mineral patches, though a few gold patches in there. Some gold bases out on the map as well. And the closest rush distance of any map, I believe, in the entire map pool. From the low ground to the low ground, that is. So once things get going, very easy to counterattack, to put something together. But it is quite open out on the field as well. So, map, it really depends on the style you want to play. Solar, I don't think either player are going to stray too far from their comfort zone here. Solar already angling towards 3 hatcheries, even before Zergling speed starts. ByuN, when you have to go up a ramp without a Reaper cliff there, thinking twice about going for the Reapers. A rare sight, but works out indeed. The Zergling's trying to chase down. Queen will probably get away with dropping a creep tumor there immediately. For the first time in this series. 3rd command center on the way. And a 2nd barracks. So even when ByuN doesn't go for that same, it's going to be the same thing. The only question is whether he drops 2 engineering base, or if we're focused entirely on tech here. I think you get at least 1 for +1. +1 is so valuable. Alright. Most important thing, getting your drugs and your guns. Alright, but enough about my neighbors. Instead, the Marines, with +1, they fire so quickly that it negates the extra armor the Queen has as a baseline. It's just a ridiculous DPS increase. Can really feel it fighting against the Zerg. That's why so many timings revolve around those first upgrades. Just in general, timings revolve around upgrades, but especially something that can really front-load its damage, like the Marines. There's our 1 engineering back. Stim. Does he have double tech lab? No. ByuN's like, you don't need more HP if you don't get hit. Which, technically correct. And in fact, that may actually be the thought process with this, where I'd rather have 4 or 5 more Marines, even if they are remarkably vulnerable to banelings, than I would try to get combat shield in this early timing. The Zergling gets in. It will confirm ByuN is indeed interested in making Marines. This will come as a total and utter shock. Medevac den. The starport nearly completed. 1-1. Pretty quickly for Solar. It's going to line up a bit differently here, as ByuN is focused on that sharp +1 timing. And expanding to the low ground base, the forward base. I actually really like this, as the entire, ByuN's entire strategy is going to be sending it across the map. And the other more typical base, you would have to come back to defend. Whereas defending this base, if you can pull it off, you're essentially that much closer to counterattacking, as well as being able to protect it with siege tanks from the high ground. So while it seems a bit more exposed, in the grand scheme of things, it suits ByuN's plan significantly better. Still doesn't mean I would recommend it to be tried at home, but the thought process is clearly there. +1 about to complete. The triple threat is done. Well, double threat in this case. The 3rd threat, instead of combat shield, is just a bunch more Marines. The Queen's on the run. Fourth base isn't gonna happen. Cancels at the last moment. Tries to buy whatever time he can. Solar just scrambling. That's just a bunch of Marines. The Queens. Not that much energy. Immediately respreading the creep. Has taken another hatch towards the center line. Doesn't get that gold this time around, honestly. He knew it was a bit of a stretch goal. Even then, that's just a lot of Marines. Oh my. Armory. Engineering bay. ByuN not slowing down with this. He's fully planning on ramping up production, even after assassinating the Queens. Baneling speed is still a long way off, and ByuN is on the front door. The creep is not good enough for those Banelings. Not with this many Marines able to easily target them down. The watchtower's opened up. They have to grind through the rocks. A repeat offender. Siege tank nestled in there. Banelings with speed aren't guaranteed to close the distance, especially once the creep recedes this much. And now with multiple siege tanks. Big counterattack attempted, but the spotter depot, the chew toy, working as intended, buys the time ByuN needs to raise his depot rounder. I'm pretty sure he lost that command center outright, but the real action's on the other side. The army, 63 Marines, 3 siege tanks, and 5 medevacs. And that's it. Stick with the classics. The Queen's pulling back. The Marines doing a lot of damage. 2-2's on the way for both sides. ByuN just sitting here, keeping the pressure on by existing, and now moving forward. But here comes the flank. Forced to pull back with a single group of the Marines. He can't fit everyone in the medevacs. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. Oh, but another group of Marines! As all the Lings and Banes had committed, ByuN swings in. Oh, their sacrifice is not in vain. Targets down the... He moves forward to target down the Banes. Transfuses on the hatchery. Marines picked up. Heads towards the main. The rest of them drop out and drop back in. Third base under fire. Bane... Oh my God! Check his computer. Where's his aim button? You tell me. I don't want to see any more comments on these the videos about the AI stutter stepping or splitting. Like a human couldn't do that. No. All right, a human wouldn't run away. Okay. Enhance. 1, 2. They're all lined up for him. Easy enough. Now you try doing that. At 500 APM. While also dropping the main. While also doing anything else. I want to, one more time. The ByuN, and this is Micro Jackson. Let's go to the ByuN action cam. Stutter steps back. Stims in. Slurps up. Scans forward. Drops in. And spots the Banes. Easily lines him up. Knocks him down. Collects the victory. Oh my. Oh, ByuN. Looking ByuN-stoppable. The rest are just icing. Oh my. And that, well... That brings us to our anti-spoiler game. ByuN versus Nightmare. We got lined up. But... Wow. Banelings. Optimistic. Well. Alright, I don't know how to follow that up. I don't know how you feel as Solar after that. Like, he underestimated the power of the Marine type. Alright. Something, somehow... he took it very seriously and still not seriously enough. You can't just sit there making Zerglings the whole game. Eventually their economy will outstrip yours. So at the end of the day, I don't know. Maybe we try some Protoss. From, I believe the same day this match is played on, just a singular game here. But Nightmare has been showing some of the most interesting Protoss. Unfortunately, he's another Protoss whose hands don't seem to keep up with his brain. Where he's got the right idea, what seems to be theoretically the right idea in so many scenarios, but struggles to actually execute that idea always. Though ByuN has fallen prey to him several times before in dramatic fashion. So we'll see if he can do it again. Of course, a Reaper. Only one against the Protoss. Yeah. Well. A Depth Shade catches him. Cyclones. Double Cyclone in production. And another factory, or another barracks, sorry, behind. So going to be following it up with Bio, but the double Cyclone. In order to get some map control early, there's really nothing that can compete with the Cyclone until you have enough gateway units to do so. You need Warp Gate done, you need at least 3 or 4 Stalkers, otherwise the Cyclones will kite you to hell and back. At least until someone blinks. Can't get over that. Like, yeah, you can slow it down and look at it. The Baneling target fire. Sure, all the Banelings are clumped up. Easy peasy. Well. I've spent 38 hours in the micro trainer. I could target those Banes. Yeah, but the rest of the game's kind of important too. It's just rarely nowadays do we get those flashy... I guess it's almost become mundane to see a lot of those micro moments. Like, I remember when blinking out of a Widow Mine hit. That was like some professional level gameplay. Nowadays, if a Diamond Leaguer can't pull it off with nothing else happening, it's a bit embarrassing. Now it's timing out the Adept Shade for the Widow Mine. Or dodging Stalker slash Cyclone hits with a Prism or a Medevac or something. He was dying to the Cyclones. He was that was his best opportunity to get something done. The boy, what? Here we go. Nightmare's coming across the map. He has a Templar Archives on the way. This is about to go real sideways. The Adept, I think, spotted some of that army. The Cyclones, yep. The Stalkers blink. They'll get the clones. But the Stalkers are on the wrong side of history right now. ByuN is just sending it. He's got the tanks. He's bunker rushing. Well, bunker rush is maybe a bit of a strong term. But the bunker contained 2 siege tanks are too many for the Stalkers to contend with at this moment. He needs a better angle. But we'll see if ByuN lets him get it. Gonna try to cut off the reinforcements. Oh my god. There goes the SCV. Decides on the counterattack with the Blink Stalkers either way. Immortal pops out. Very important. And the bunkers will continue. Oh my. Now ByuN gonna be losing some of his SCVs at home. And of course he's got some SCVs pulled off the line for the bunkers at the front. They're fighting on both fronts. The siege tank gonna help out dramatically. Another gateway is going to be taken down. A Dark Shrine on the way for Nightmare. He's only got 2 gates left now. Building more in the main. A Dark Shrine on the way. The shield battery, he has shield battery overcharged ready. No stim. Stim just started. Stalker's back into the main. Still enough at home to defend. There is no stim. He just focused on combat shield because these Marines are for tanking for the tanks. That Immortal Immortal in production on the Robo. Nightmare desperately needs that done, but the tanks are doing so much, he loses it. Oh, no. The tank push continues. ByuN is salvaging all but one bunker. Oh, no. He's on a scrap economy. Trying to deal with the stalkers on the other side. Nightmare's been doing a good job. 26 SCVs dead. The majority of them on ByuN's side of the map, obviously. But now the Nexus is under fire. The shield battery needs to pat it on the back. It's re-shielding. But the tanks are powering through. A recall! And it gets home just in time with the War Prism. He needs that desperately. Nightmare looking for the perfect defense. And he's gonna have to settle for what he can get. Oh, no. Well, actually, a bunch of Marines and tanks out on the map. The DTs. The DTs. What a play. He actually got the Dark Shrine. He waited till possibly the last second. Every mule is gonna drop. Wait. He saved too. Did he see the Dark Shrine? Did he anticipate it? He has... That has to be intentional. He didn't drop these mules. The DTs, but he's got scans. There's some DTs in the Prism. ByuN trying to win the game outright. Another scan. The DTs going to try to outlast ByuN here. There's plenty of scans. He's not going to have the orbitals, though. The Nexus may die. A single DT. Does he even have an engineering bay? No, he can't build turrets. He's working on it. The main base is being eviscerated by a single Dark Templar. Where did the Prism go? The Prism died. Oh, no. So it's just that one DT. How does it come to this? A scan? He's making a turret. But ByuN can't fight the DTs. He needs the turret. Oh. The DT's in the main base. But I think ByuN has actually managed... Oh, no. The turret. He came into detection range. The sentry with Guardian Shield is targeted. And ByuN is stimming his way forward. He makes it work with the Marines, the tanks, and the SCVs. It doesn't seem to matter what he's facing. There is no problem he can't solve with these 3 units. Well, he's won. Has he won the game? The DTs will continue trickling out. ByuN has 26 SCVs, which is actually puts him ahead economically. One more DT on the way across. All the depots are... Oh. He realizes. Oh, and the tanks. AT at the front. Another one attempted. Another bunker rebuilt. And GG. Nightmare taps it out. ByuN showing that... yeah, the strength of your tools and the utility there. Oh my. Some very Terran games out of ByuN. Making his favorite units work for him. Dropping 1 to Solar. Wasn't able to get the momentum going, but when he does, be unstoppable. Well, hopefully that made your day a little bit better, and hopefully you can respect it, even if you're not particularly happy to see it, my Zerg and Protoss friends. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But if you're liking and subscribing, is still free for now. If you haven't yet checked out the second channel, the second YouTube channel, Winter Gaming, for streams and more content. If you've got some more hours in the day, I'm not here to judge. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.